So really for bass fishing, there's two options. You got your spinning rod, you got your spinning reels, right? And then you got your bait caster setups. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is selecting your right spinning rod. I've got a few here, and we will try to trick these fish into eating, and I can't see them, so you guys will have to scream real loud if something eats something. But when you're selecting your spinning rod, typically it's going to be some kind of finesse tactic, right? You're either going to be doing a drop shot, or you're going to be throwing a shaky head, or something light with light line. Perhaps you're fishing really clear water, you know, so that's going to be another time you're going to want the really light line, so you're going to go to a spinning rod. There's a lot of different spinning rods and spinning reels out there, so how do you pick the right one? If you're crappie fishing, you know, you've got these little short 5-foot spinning rods, you know, and they're real cheap and stuff, but we're going to talk about bass fishing today, and for the most part, the average length spinning rod is going to be 6.5 foot to 7.5 foot, some of them. This one is a 7-foot medium action. I really like this for a lot of applications. This here is a drop shot. I've got a little Gene Larew inch worm on here. There's no hooks on it, so I can't catch these fish, but I think there's some over there, I don't know. But when you're selecting your spinning rod and your spinning reel, does one got it? I'm pretty sure one ate it. Yeah.
They took off for it.
He's like way over here with it. Yeah, he's eating it. So they really like Gene Larew inchworm apparently. What do I got? Do I got a bass or a good one? I mean, like put him on the wall big or?
He's a keeper.
He's not letting it go at all. Anyway, so the fish are hungry, I guess. It's good. Or they really like it. There he goes, he let it go. But so, wow. Did he eat the weight? He ate my weight. I need a drop shot weight.
He ate your weight.
So if you can't get to eat a worm, just throw weight.
We want 8-ounce quarter.
I don't care.
I'm just gonna
Get the
go
worms
down
in there.
a little metal ball.
Anyhow, so that wasn't supposed to happen, but they ate my weight. But when you're picking your setup, right, you got to know where you're going, what you're looking for, what your tactic's going to be, the length action of the rod. If you're going to make long casts in open water, you want a longer rod, right? The longer the rod, the longer you're going to be able to make a cast. Your shorter rods are going to be close proximity, more accuracy. So I like something in the middle where I can kind of get a little bit of the best of both worlds. On your reel sizes, you know, there's like 1,000 series sizes, there's 2,000, 3,000, they get bigger as they go. I like a 2,000 series reel. This is a 2,000 or 2,500 series. Those names are just kind of created by every reel manufacturer. You got to hold them to see them really how big they are. But generally a 2,000 to 3,000 series reel is going to be the size spinning rod that you want to throw. Right on the reel, it'll tell you the size, the line that it'll hold. It'll tell you how much capacity it'll hold. So whenever you want to buy 6-pound line, you know, this reel here holds 265 yards of 4-pound line and 220 yards of 6 and 155 yards of 8-pound line. So you know when you go to buy the line, that average diameter for that line, you know how much to spool on there, so you don't overspool it or how big to buy the spool. So that's really the key things you need to decide on when you're going to buy and purchase your first spinning rod and spinning reel combo is how big is the reel going to be to match the rod, and what size line are you going to throw, how much line do you want, what kind of baits do you want to throw. I don't know if they'll eat an inchworm floating out of weight, but the baits I like to throw on a spinning rod are for the most part going to be like a shaky head, any kind of worm, and or this drop shot application here. And if you just walked up, the fish ate my weight, so I have to put another weight on. So this is a drop shot setup, and one thing that's important about a spinning reel is you get a lot of twist in your line. So when you're fishing all day long and you're reeling it in, this thing, it goes like this and it goes in circles, and that causes a membrane of twist in your line all the way down to your knot, to your bait. And after, you know, a few hours of fishing, throwing and reeling it in, you'll end up having your line like twist around the end of your rod. You go to cast and it'll get all around the end of your rod. It gets frustrating and annoying, and a lot of guys will break your line and put it behind the boat, run the trolling motor, and try all kinds of stuff to get it out. One technique to prevent that from occurring is put your main line, spool up all your reel with braid. So braid, it'll twist, but it doesn't have the same recoil that monofilament or fluorocarbon does. So it's really important Me, I'm gonna eat this microphone. It's really important for me to always throw braid on this if I'm gonna be fishing long casts all day long. If I'm gonna make a lot of short casts, I can get away with just some straight fluorocarbon. I'm gonna tie a little knot. This is a little trick I like to do if you're drop shot fishing and your weight seems to be pulling off real easy. You're dropping, you're getting hung up in rocks and brush, and you pull up, you've got your weight slipped off. You can either tie a little half hitch at the tag end of your line, which will help catch it, or you can just tie a little granny knot around there and typically they'll have them break. So again, I'm gonna throw this Larew inchworm over here. That color is Montezuma Revenge. We'll see if I can get one to eat the, one's got it again, right? Yeah, I definitely got one. So there's no hook on here, so I can't catch it. See that go? Yeah. Let's see if they eat. I wish fishing was this easy. I mean, I throw it down there and one grabs it. So when you're working a drop shot, right? There's a lot of different ways you can do that.
What just ate the weight?
Huh? I would show you how to present it if they quit eating it. So I got a bass again?
They ate the weight.
Yeah, there we go. So,
No, they didn't.
so drop shot fishing, you're either going to be making a cast, you're going to be blind fishing for fish that you can't see. You know, maybe you know there's a big rocky spot out there, or there's a brush pile or something like that, and you want to fish for it, so you're blind casting. You're going to let that go all the way to the bottom, and you want that weight to sit on the bottom. And the whole idea of a drop shot is you're keeping that bait yay far up off the bottom, and you can adjust that distance. So if you as the angler decide, I think that bass is 2 foot off the bottom, well, you want your hook 2 foot off from the drop shot. And see here, I'm in a currented situation, so that worm is probably dancing pretty good down there on its own. So there's two ways. Like I said, you can be casting out where you want to fish, or you're going to be using electronics. So a lot of times when you're fishing for smallmouth, or not necessarily always smallmouth, but you're out graphing and you're on your trolling motor and you see a fish on your graph below you, a lot of times you drop straight down and you'll be able to see that bait fall under the transducer, and you can present the bait, get down to the depth the fish is, and you can watch your bait wiggling on the graph, and you sit there and wiggle it in front of them, and you keep that weight on the bottom. And so what you're trying to do is let that weight stay on the bottom, and you're just trying to make that worm wiggle and make that fish eat it. So I got anything looking at it? No?
I just saw one.
You gotta learn how to wiggle your worm right to get him to look at it. So I may be on to this one. I got one there now. I know I do. Yeah. So again, I'm talking about how you pair up a reel and a rod, but part of pairing up a reel and a rod is knowing how you're going to fish with it. You know, so this is me just pairing up a 2500 series. This is an art reel. I think they sell them here at Cabela's, so you can get a hold of this art reel. It's a bolt, and this is a 7 foot medium action spinning rod. I've got it on 10-pound braid, and I've tied a fluorocarbon leader on it. That's just 6-pound line, so it's really light. So I want to make sure my drag is really loose so I don't break that line when I hook a fish. Another spinning rod application that I like is a shaky head. So again, this is another June bug color. This is by Larew. This is a Tattletail worm. We've got those right there. What's really cool about this, it's a lot like your standard little trick worms, but this has a little bitty paddle tail on the end of it. That's a tattletail, not a paddle tail. But it's really subtle, and hopefully you can see that action in down there. But I like to pair that with some kind of shaky head hook, whether it be a jig head or a Texas rig. I'll try to keep it up in the water column, maybe you can see it better. You guys talk to me freely. Tell me if you can see the way the bait looks. But it's got a cool little action on the tail, something ain't it? Yeah. So I really like that. Larew came out with that years ago, that Tattletail, and they've got a big worm. This is just the medium sized one. They got a big worm, and then that inchworm I was showing earlier has that same little tail on it. It really wiggles. And those fish really like that thing. Here they go. So you guys did not want to jerk on one of these and see what I got down there. But again, this is another 2500 series reel. The thing about a spinning reel is you don't have as high of a gear ratio. You can't retrieve line as fast as you can with a bait caster. So the big difference between the two is, you know, the spinning rod or finesse, you're going to have a slower gear ratio, so you're not going to be able to retrieve line as quick. And when you decide you're going to start power fishing, you're going to jig fish, you're going to throw into structure, heavier stuff where you need a, and that's when you're going to switch over to the bait caster stuff. This one feels pretty big. This is a bigger one? But you can see the way that tail looks in there. I can't, but I'm hoping it looks good.